I'm really excited about all that God is doing right now in our church. And as we embark on this journey with the Dream Project, we've been talking all along that one of the huge things that it's going to require of all of us is taking a step of faith. And I wanted to share with you a few stories. Many of you know at the beginning of the year, a few months ago, we embarked on a giving journey, a 90-day challenge, inviting people to trust God with their finances and begin to sacrificially give to the work of God in our church. And there's been so many stories of just the incredible things that God has done in the lives of the people and the families that have taken that challenge. And we wanted to share a few of those stories with you today.
We decided to participate as a family, and this is the one area where God says to test Him. We felt nervous and excited and decided to step it up and began giving 10% of our total income. At first, things didn't look too bright. At work, I was notified that the bonus and incentive plan would be canceled that year. Needless to say, I felt very discouraged. Yet, I felt that regardless of the situation, we should continue to put trust in God's promise and keep giving. One day, towards the end of the giving challenge, I was pulled into the general manager's office where he told me that over the last year, my management style and the programs I managed had exceeded expectations, and he wanted to personally thank me for the growth I had brought to the company. He explained that even though the bonus plan was canceled, I would actually receive the full bonus. At that moment, I felt amazed and thankful. But that was not the end. He then explained that I would receive not just a 10% bonus, but a 13% bonus. At that moment, I felt shock and total amazement. It was hard fighting off the tears, and at the moment I realized God's promise came true. I know that we won't always get what we want or ask for, but I don't doubt the power of God's hand in our lives. You never know when or how you will be touched. I just know I was touched. When it comes to giving, it isn't about the money. It is truly about the heart.
I wanted to share another story with you. A few weeks ago on a Sunday morning, a gentleman approached me after second service and asked to talk to me, and it's somebody that I know pretty well. And he said, "Pastor, I just want to share with you that my wife and I, we took the 90-day challenge, and we've been Christians a long time, and we've been giving regularly to the church, but we haven't been tithing because for a variety of reasons, and the money just wasn't there. But we just decided that we wanted to trust God. We knew it was the right thing, and we wanted to follow our pastor. And so we've been tithing these last couple of months. And I can't tell you all the numbers of things that God has done and all the ways that God has worked in our finances and in our family because we just don't have the time. But I can tell you just one small thing, and that is that we needed a new car, and we've been praying about a new car, and we just simply didn't think that it was going to work or that we would have a way to do it. But because of God and because of our faithfulness and because of the things that God has been doing in our lives, the doors just opened wide open for us to be able to transition out of the vehicle that we had and get into the vehicle that we really needed for our family. And so I just wanted to share that with you. Isn't that a powerful testimony and a powerful story of what God does in our lives when we dare to trust Him, when we put our faith in Him, because we can never outgive God. And here's one more story from our church family.
Giving is something that has been weighing on my heart for a long time, and it just seemed to keep coming up for us the week the challenge was presented. It has been very scary. Our budget is such that nearly every dollar is accounted for. Our tithe amount ended up being exactly the amount of leftover money I allow in our budget for fun things like clothing, meals out, and the like. This money has never previously been used for giving back. The first week I wrote the check and thought, maybe 10% is too much, and surely this is too much for our family's very limited income. I felt sick about it, but I ended up writing the check for 10% of our monthly income. Wow, that was a huge leap of faith for me. The next week was hard for our family. Our dog became ill, and we had a vet bill totaling nearly 20% of our monthly income. This was a huge blow. I was feeling discouraged and did not want to dip into our savings or use a credit card, but I did what I had to and paid to keep our dog in good health. I prayed that he would stay well and that our family would continue to be provided for. Later in the week, we were blessed by a family member that had some extra money to spare and felt compelled to give to us for some reason. Wow. We had not discussed the changes in our finances, and this was a huge surprise. Moving forward, we have had more unexpected expenses and more blessings. Somehow, our checking account has had more money in it than it ever does, and we have been able to do some fun things and even save a little. I felt at peace with writing our check for the second month of the challenge. I just seemed to get it. I'm entering the second month feeling at peace and confident and grateful. We will be provided for, and everything is okay.
I don't know what happens for you when you hear those kinds of stories, but for me, I just get so fired up to hear about what God is doing in people's lives when they dare to trust Him, when they put their faith in Him. Now, the reality for all of us is the only difference between those families and you and I is that those are people who reached out, who decided to step out in spite of the risk. They didn't have extra money. They just decided they wanted to trust God and be obedient to God and put their faith in Him. That's the only difference. Now, I want you to imagine with me as we move into the Dream Project, what would happen if our whole church dared to believe God, dared to trust God, dared to take God at His word, that if we will invest in what He's doing, if we'll open our heart and we'll move together and pull together and sacrifice together, that there would just be this explosion of generosity in our church, this explosion of faith, and this explosion of the work of God in our midst that could not be held back, regardless of the obstacles that stand in our way. Imagine what could happen if we moved beyond just this being a dream to stepping out in faith and beginning to move and act and trust God and sacrifice and give together, that this would go way beyond being a dream and actually become a reality where we're serving people and God is making a difference in our community, all because you gave and the people next to you gave, and the people around you gave, and the people all over our church decided that they were going to trust God and give together. That's what could happen. I believe that with all of my heart. And so I want to invite you to step into this journey of faith with us.